Shogun 1 was a bit of a covert project for EA.
Or was it just we were doing it with their money?
They didn't know that they were funding it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm serious, they didn't kind of know they were doing it. We weren't even going to do Shogun to start with, we were going to do a role-playing game based on Monkey. We were starting doing work on Monkey, we started doing a design and we got some prototypes together and then Command & Conquer came out. We looked at that and thought, no, this is easy, we could do this, we could do it really quickly. Much easier than doing a role-playing game based on Monkey.
And that's why when I started at the office, there were all these Monkey books all over the place. And I couldn't figure out why.
That must be so weird. Just come in and just be like...
The battles on their own didn't have enough gameplay to stand up as a game on their own, so it needed something else, either some strategy putting into the battles, like other RTSs, or a wrapper around them. And we went for the wrapper option.
Also narrative as well, because the battle in itself is nothing. I mean, it was just kind of shallow in a way, whereas the campaign also gives you a narrative, kind of a self kind of.
Yeah, you write your own story.
Write your own story. The biggest appeal for me when I got really big time into medieval was that I always loved history, and this was a chance for me to actually change history and kind of.
So Poland can win this time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Poland did win. Now then, we dominated the world. In my world,
dominated all the world of Poland.
The whole world. The whole world was Poland. Europe was just, it was amazing. It was just, I could change history, sculpt it as I wanted it, and it was just, it was great. That's the main thing for me. I mean, it's very general, but that's what appealed to me the most.
I guess though the thing about medieval was it was the first. I mean, Shogun established the whole thing, but medieval was the first breakaway hit for the series, wasn't it? Like it really kind of sold and got into homes and got into minds.
It's probably easier content for some people.
It's especially easier content for a lot of Western people, because you don't have to sell the whole sort of Robin Hood night.
No, everybody understands that. They understand
history.
You kind of know.
But you see, this is the argument of the familiar versus the cool. Right, because the theme of Shogun, although people aren't always familiar with the history, it's incredibly cool. It's an incredibly interesting period.
Everybody likes it when you explain. Oh, it's samurai and ninjas, and big swords.
But
the
medieval period, the medieval period is immediately accessible because it is common history for pretty much every nation in Europe. You know, and even the Americans have a vague idea.
The North American history is essentially European
history, right? Exactly. Before the Exodus.
Yeah, medieval history is far more insane than Japanese history.
People were kind of enthused about the whole idea of doing medieval history because they thought they loved the history.
It was awesome. That was where I came into it.
Me too. That was my favourite.
That was my favourite Total War game. It was the first one I came into.
That's when I realised.
Still my favourite period of history.
Yeah, exactly.
So medieval was all about taking what we'd done with Shogun and making it perfect. So it was all about evolution. It was about taking each different area of the game and just pushing it forward and taking it as far as it could go with that engine. We started when we started on Med 1, we also started on Rome at the same time. So the whole idea was that we'd do an evolution and a revolution in parallel.
The problem is that doing history about Rome was that you were essentially trying to reconstruct the resistance from Gestapo reports.
Yeah.
You've only got the Roman side of it, so they're going, these guys are nutcases. Look at them, they're 18 feet tall with a single eye and they can spit fire.
They say un-PC things.
Yeah, and they're appalling.
It's actually quite good for us, you know.
Yeah, but we also know that it's palpable nonsense that these guys weren't 18 feet tall.
We should literally take that.
Yeah, we do.
The idea of Rome though was revolutionary. The idea was we didn't want somebody else to be the team that beat us. We had
to be our own beaters.
So we set up a second team and said, okay, you beat us.
I think the campaign map was definitely felt very different.
Yeah, so it went from region-based to grid-based campaign, and full 3D on the troops.
I like the idea though of having your own competition in-house.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, every studio always says, "Oh, we've got to do the best and beat ourselves," kind of thing. But actually, by having two teams and having them looking over each other's shoulders, and going, "Well, actually, did a better job than you," so meh. The point is, okay, you've got everybody. When you talk to them about the original games, they always mention the Holy Trinity. Okay, you've got Shogun 1, Medieval 1, and Rome. Right? Everybody talks about those as the golden years of when they came in and their youthful memory.
It's like comics; they're always going to be the golden.
But Rome doesn't fit. Of those three things, Rome doesn't
different.
fit. Rome is utterly different to the first two, right? And yet it has this universal appeal, which is either down to theme or
it's the subject.
Right?
It's the subject.
And it's the best
Everybody seems.
Well, no, it's not just the subject. It is actually an excellent game.
It is it is genuinely a damn game.
And it was the first.
It's another one where you say to somebody, "You are Caesar," and they instantly go, "Oh, Spartacus, Caesar." and Cleopatra. They know it kind of already, you know, pyramids.
Yeah.
Swords and sandals.
Swords and
Swords and
sandals.
sandals. There was a wave of.
And
also,
there was
it was-
we were lucky because I think movies like Gladiator hit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, I
around the
remember,
same
yeah.
time. And
But also, it was so much
just
more of
got-
a
we
jump
just rode
than any
that
other
little-
game. It was so much newer and bigger and better than any other game
Oh,
at
it
the
was
time.
big and
so it
shiny,
was,
yeah.
so yeah, so that's what it was. I mean, Shogun was a
With the amount of time we
little
spent on it.
genre kind of bending
There
kind
were
of
some
title. I
really-
mean, at the time when Rome came out, there was nothing else quite like it.
No, true,
You
that's
know,
true.
of that scale. I mean, you look at Shogun, you look at anything, it looks kind of like a geeky kind of niche game. But you look at Rome and you think Hollywood. You know, that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what.
There was a deliberate effort to
Yeah.
squeeze Hollywood into
To
it.
squeeze Hollywood into
Yeah.
the game, yeah.
Epic was the.
Epic
Was the word, yeah.
Oh,
epic
that was the word for
Dominatus.
No. It was for Rome. It was Imperator.
Empire was a fun one because that's where I came in, and I remember coming into Empire. And I've worked on other software projects and bits and pieces before, but I remember coming into Empire and seeing it, and it was the first time it was literally like, you know, kind of walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and because I remember, you know, having played all the games and been a massive fan and everything else, and then kind of coming through the doors and wondering how sausages are made. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, and it was definitely a real eye opener to come in and to see something like that. I think with Empire.
Shattered.
Well, Empire was definitely the biggest, most ambitious thing that we've
Ever done.
attempted.
We were mental.
Like,
Not only
absolutely.
in period and scope, but also the fact that we were rewriting everything from scratch.
And we added in.
It's like we almost wanted every challenge in the book.
And
Which, like,
we added a third game.
Let's have naval battles as well.
then we had the naval battles, yeah.
And let's do it in half the time of Rome.
I think that's one of the things that people
While
don't
we're at it,
necessarily
we'll move
appreciate. We
offices.
actually make 3 games.
We do,
Yeah.
yes.
We make the campaign map. That's a game. We make the battles. That's a game. And the naval.
naval
That's a
battles,
game
three
as well.
games.
Frankly,
I mean,
the UI is quite fun as well.
Technically, truthfully, you could also count the multiplayer as a game on its own. Although it's using those game modes, but
More so now.
Also
more so
now.
now,
We're
more
doing
so
Shogun.
Shogun 2, yeah.
Shogun 2
It's a
multiplayer.
completely separate.
Definitely, but that's just
It's the 4th game.
Yeah.
Empire is one of our most discussed products, right?
Yes.
Not least because it was, you know, commercially certainly one of our biggest, and it reached kind of the biggest number of people, the biggest number of fans. But it you know, it did a number of things which some people, you know, kind of vaunted and others vilified. And I think it was a pretty interesting set of design choices. I mean, you know, naval battles. Okay, when we added those, where do you start with something like that? Design-wise, when you add a naval battle to the game, you go, right, we've had land battles for X many iterations and made those better. Do you just go, well, this is just a land battle at sea?
No,
Or
this is different.
Yeah.
You
so-
start off by looking at what actually happened. You go to the history and
And look at how
And
it
actually,
works.
naval battles are very tedious in real life because they take forever.
yeah. Sail about, wait for
There's
it,
an hour of knowing that you're going to die and then 3 minutes where you die.
slow motion car crash.
It is a slow motion car crash. If you look at most naval battles of the period, they do have the air of somebody knows that they're going to get beaten. So there is this kind of car crash happening.
But how do you
But
translate
it's-
that into a game?
Exactly.
This is what I'm saying.
That's a challenge.
You've got this really slow engagement process and this formation process. and this-
Tactically, it's kind of interesting on one level, but it is like 2 yachts going around a course. There's that constant jockeying about when you know when you see a sailing race.
Yeah.
They're jockeying around trying to get in the wind position. That's going on, but at least they're not actually shooting at each other.
You know, before I'd be massively immersed in RPGs or FPSs where I'm actually the character, not the third-person games, but the FPSs. But this was a strategy game that had the same kind of level of immersion, the suspension
You were
of
the
disbelief.
nation,
I was
yeah.
the nation, you know, and yeah, it did have that kind of nostalgic, memory.
This is
you know,
exactly why, just to go back to the point earlier, why people get cross with us if we don't do exactly what they
yeah, because they
want.
get so into it. You know,
They're so
we're
into it.
messing with their kind of.
Yeah.
It's
The
their
interesting
game
thing
that
is
we're
that
messing.
it kind of like on a high level. The interesting thing about this is that our games are generating real experiences for people, in which case we're almost transcending art and literature.
But it's true. Games do transcend.
Good games do. Good games do. Right? Because there are so many games out there that you play, and like I say, they're popcorn experiences. You enjoy them. They're a visual feast or whatever, but you don't come away with an indelible personal effect.
It's like a
You
train
look at the
ride,
number of
it's not an
with
experience.
Steam,
Hours,
we
yes.
can see how many hours people
People play for hundreds.
and they play for hundreds
Let's
of
try
hours.
thousands.
And it's
Actually, yes,
There was a guy on the forums the other day whinging about the fact that and I use that word advisedly, he hadn't had good value, even though he'd played for 1,900 hours on Empire. And he's paid $35 for something that's entertaining for 1,900 hours. That's
I mean,
a working
how long
week.
is your average console game now? What, 6 hours? 6 to 10 hours? something
Ten's
like that?
good.
10's are good. I mean, you know, you barely
That is-
scratch the surface.
I like it when the game does something that we didn't intend it to, and gives us a bit of a surprise. I remember playing Mid 1, and one of my allies, which had been an ally for a long time, managed to take one of my regions off me in a way which we'd never intended. And the way he did it was he sent a bunch of bishops in, caused a peasant rebellion, and then sent a diplomat in and bribed the rebels, all in one turn. I'd lost a region, I was still his ally, I couldn't do anything about it. It was brilliant, and that's the kind of thing where the game does something unintended but clever.
Emergent behaviour. Yeah.
The first time you see the elephants in Rome, that was very cool.
Yeah.
As what I always describe as the Zulu moment. Yeah. You know, the Zulus are thousands of them. You know, where you. Well, no, I had one when I was playtesting medieval. I had one battle where this British army or English army, I should say, in Egypt, and there's a sandstorm, and the enemy are all off in the distance. It looks like there's about 3 of them. This sandstorm waves in. And then the weather clears, and they're all standing there 20 yards away from me. Jesus Christ.
Thousands of them.
And that was kind of impressive the first time I saw it. And that was a favourite.
We have a lot of good tech in place, and it'd be nice to, you know, just really focus on tools and content.
Gameplay.
Gameplay.
Yeah. See, I like that. I like the way that I hope, my hope is that the power and the computational ability of both GPUs, CPUs, memory, whatever platform we're on, whether it's consoles, PCs, whatever we do, right, and wherever entertainment goes, gets to the point where it's so large and so big, it becomes an utterly creative medium. It just purely becomes about what can you do within this power base, rather than what can you push to the limits of the power base.
This is why we're building tools. You know, we've got a nice chunky tools team for Shogun 2 and for Napoleon, and it is becoming easier and easier to generate content. It's still bumpy and rocky, but you know, as the tools smooth out, as they improve, then it becomes easier and easier for people to generate content. We may release the tools. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to go on down the future, but.
As somebody who generates that content, just let me say, it doesn't become easier.
It frees us up. It frees us up to be creative in the ways that we want to on a project. It gives us the ability to just create stuff without
Without any
hundreds,
limitation,
yeah.
and that would be awesome.